Hey, good morning. Well, it's not a great morning actually, because I got a link sent to me by a friend who actually is in America, but he's a supporter of all things in the Philippines, and he mentioned a channel which is now under fire by by the same kind of thing that we were under fire a few years ago. Actually, our haters still continue to do what they do because that is what they do. They do that because that's their job. And now apparently they've settled on a target which they would like to pull down because the guy is evidently doing too much good. Now, I don't know this guy, and actually I have never seen his channel, so I don't know what he does, but I know the trouble that is being caused for him by the same kind of mindset as gave us the trouble a few years ago. Now, the channel is called Sunshine Shoulders, and the man at the helm of that is Calvin. And I actually wrote to Calvin. I didn't have his messenger or anything like that, but I did suggest to him that he should get in touch with me on Messenger. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an advisor in all things legal, but I know what it's like to have a lot of people against me and against my wife, and it still happens. It's still going on. Let me explain to you. When you set up a channel, depending on the kind of thing that you do, then you will or will not come in for a lot of flack. Now, it's in the hater's psyche that if any good, now this is very difficult for someone who thinks in a good way, with a good mindset, with a healthy mindset, being positive, wanting to see good news and all of this. It's difficult for them to get a handle on the kind of mindset that a hater has. A hater gets up in the morning and tries to work out where he can do the most damage. Difficult to understand that, but in our particular case, for the last 5 years, we've had 2 or 3 people who get up in the morning and think, what can we do to Terence and Beth today that will harm them the most? And that's what they do when they watch part of our videos, and then they go in and they try and find the jugular and do what they can. Now, this is a problem. Whether you think in terms of heaven and hell, whether you think in terms of the Lord or God and Satan, good or bad, negative and positive, whether you're a Buddhist or I don't know, whether you're a Baptist or a Roman Catholic or whatever you are, whatever your beliefs are, unless you're actually emotionally, spiritually bankrupt and don't believe in anything, in which case I don't know why you would be watching this far. But if you think about these things at all, then you must know that the negative will always strike the hardest hit. Now, as a vlogger for some years now, I know in myself, even though I know this point about human nature, I know that you can, and I've talked to so many people about this who are in the same situation, you can receive 100 good comments. You can receive 100 comments where they say, wow, you are the greatest. And you get 2 or 3 negative ones that tell you that you're shit. And they are the ones that will strike the hardest. That's because the way that the earth, the way the planet is set up, emotionally, spiritually, right and wrong, good or bad, Satan or God, whatever, the negative is what seems to have the most power. Now, I'm looking at Sunshine Shoulders, and all I watched was of this man Calvin saying that he is now under a subpoena to go to the NBI. Let me tell you something. We did all of that and more. We, as a channel, as people, as a couple, Beth and I, have been subpoenaed. We've been charged. We've had cases brought against us. We've been investigated by everybody and his brother, the NBI, the PNP. We've done all of that. We've been through it. Calvin, if you're watching this, if somebody wises you up about watching this, because even though I did suggest that you should messenger me, I haven't heard from you yet. So if this is what you're looking at, don't listen to reasonable people. I see in your comments, see what I did was I went through your comments, because I haven't watched your channel, then I have no idea whether you are a good guy or a bad guy. All I know is that your comments say that you're a good guy. Now, some of the comments were reasonable. One thing I've learned is never listen to reasonable people, because when they're reasonable, they're saying, as some of your comments said, Calvin, is it really worth it? I mean, you have your life to live. Live your paradise. You don't have to take all of this crap. That's reasonable, and it's crap, because nobody ever created anything worthwhile by being reasonable. Okay, if we had been reasonable, we would have taken all of the offers that we had. Somebody actually messaged me and said, Terence, it's obvious that you're never going to be able to beat this. You're going to go to jail, but we can get you quietly out of the country and to Portugal. They were going to get me to Portugal. Didn't know whether they could get my wife to go with me or not, but maybe we could attend to all of that later. Yeah. So you're never going to win. We had 15, I believe it was about 15, all expat sites putting us down, all jumping in on the wagon. When we were down on the floor, everybody would put his boots on and come in and have his own kick. Calvin, going to the NBI is not the end of the world. Okay? If anybody is watching this and they're struggling, it's not the end of the world. Struggles pass, and what you do is you get angry, you get unreasonable, you fight for it. All of these people, no matter how many they are, no matter how few they are, if they're telling you to lie down, hey, stay down, you can't win. Remember the movie Rocky? Against all odds, he won. And when he went to fight the Russian super fighter who was so full of drugs that he could have fought an army, and his wife said to him, Rocky, you can't win. He didn't listen, did he? He didn't have any training, equipment. He made it up himself. He was flipping around old car tires and God knows what. He didn't get reasonable. Don't be reasonable. Get so that you're going to fight. You get back up. This is not going to kill you. This is not going to finish your channel. And this is just another example of how nameless, faceless, I don't know what, I'm struggling not to be profane here, right? But these are scumbags. That's what they do. They don't create anything. They feed off the people that create things, the people that are doing good. They feed off them. If you think that these people are reasonable, or nice reasonable, you're wrong. When we were fighting for a child that looked as if she was going to die, and eventually, actually, sadly, she did. When we were getting her an operation, would you believe that when we reported that on one of our videos, there were 8 or 9 thumbs down? So here's some good news about that baby. Thumbs down. Is that what you would think of as a good mindset? Those are the people that you're fighting. Now, you could walk away. All of us can walk away. We can all walk away. We can all give up. Do you think that at one time when everybody, it seemed to us, was against us? I woke up in the night with the sound of Beth crying because we were up against seemingly insurmountable obstacles. At one time, Calvin, apparently you've had one complaint made to the right place, the NBI, and they want to see you. Now, do you think that we didn't have that? There's a video somewhere in among our, I don't know, 15, 16,000 videos that we've made, and it shows what it was like to open the envelope that had the subpoena in it. We videoed all of that, and we felt down as well. There was nobody but our closest friends and mentors, supporters, who were there for us. You're going to find out who your friends are. Now, to all of those 600 or more, there are more than 600 comments on this particular video of Sunshine Shoulders. And this is where Calvin is explaining just what he's up against, right? And there are 600 people saying, Calvin, apart from the few that are saying, oh, give up, be reasonable, it's your paradise, so, the others are saying, we're behind you. Well, to those people who are saying, we're behind you, never mind just saying that you're behind them. If one person can create so much crap by writing to the NBI or someone else, they'll write to someone else and then the NBI will be instructed to do something about this. So if one person can create this, how about 600 standing up and saying, this is not right, this man is a good man, I've been following him for however long, and you stand up. But for Calvin, as is the case for anybody who's struggling right now, and boy, a lot of people are struggling right now, you can't give up. There's nowhere to go. If you give up, it will follow you for the rest of your life. No matter what you're doing, no matter whether you're Calvin or anybody else, it will follow you for the rest. It will hound you. It will harass you. You'll know that you gave up. Now, let me put something to you. Is this one of those where you fight those who are throwing crap at you? It's never been Beth and my way to go out and fight. It's a little bit like putting out fires. You can rush over here and put out a little fire, and then you rush over there and you do that, and then you rush over here and you do all of that, and you achieve nothing. So if you're wondering what to do, Calvin, or whoever you are, you're wondering what to do when all of the world seems to be against you, here's what you do. You do what you do best, and you keep doing it. And if anything, you increase the rate at which you do it. So Calvin, if you're wondering what to do, instead of wondering whether this is the end of your channel, why don't you just make some videos? Why don't you continue to do what people, apparently over 600 people, are saying you do very well? Now, let me tell you of our experience when we went to the NBI. When we went to the NBI, they had been instructed to subpoena us to go in and talk to them about some. Now, I don't know what was on your subpoena, but on our subpoena, it invited us to go to the NBI HQ in Tagbilaran and see if we couldn't shed some light on some of the things that were being said, right? It didn't say, come in, we're going to hang you up by the thumbs and beat you about the body. It didn't say we're going to try to get a case against you. It said, come in and talk to us. Now, if that's what's on your subpoena, then go in and talk. Now, when we went in and talked, we said, this is what we do. Now, next to the investigator, the agent that was put in charge of our case, had a wad of hard copy from our channel. And he had obviously looked at the channel. He later became a subscriber. I still write to him and tell him an update on what we're doing now, right? And we talked, and we were ourselves. We didn't try to put on a show. We didn't try to say, hey, better talk to my lawyer because I'm going to have your arse. No, we didn't do that. We went in and we just told the truth. See, it's going to be very, very difficult to find evidence that doesn't exist. Now, we still have mindless, gutless scumbags who have channels on YouTube right now, and they are still saying all their accusations, allegations, all based on gossip and lies. And they're still doing it. It's never going to go away. Calvin, this is your baptism. And for anybody else, when you can't really come up against it, this is your baptism. This is where you find out whether your beliefs are strong, whether you really should be doing what you should be doing, no matter what it is. Now, look at it this way. Whether you should fight or whether you should get on with what you do best. In ethnic tribes the world over, they used to have what was called the gauntlet, running the gauntlet. And it's been practiced in humanity, in the human race, since time immemorial. And what they would do is, there would be a long line of men with clubs facing each other with a narrow avenue going through it. So 10 or 20 each side would be waiting, and you would be the man who was going to run the gauntlet. This would be a test of his courage, of his determination to win. This would be a test. And his thing was to run the gauntlet. And when he ran, people on either side would aim their blow. Probably each person only got one blow in, but if there's 15 or 20 each side, this was quite a test. So, did he stop and try to fight anybody on the way? Did he try to stop anybody from hitting him? No, he just ran the gauntlet, and he made it to the end, and he won. If he gave in and slowed down, would receive more blows, and he would go to the ground, and then he would be lost. He kept going. He kept doing what he does. That's the way to win, to keep doing what you're doing. One of our mentors, our main man who helped us so many times, mentioned this as a metaphor. He said, if there is a group of runners and they're running a race, and one begins to get too far ahead, and the others feel that he is going to win and they're not, then they might start elbowing him, getting in the way. They'll work as a team against him. Did he stop and elbow them back? No, he just ran faster. Was it faster than he thought that he could actually finish the race on? Probably, but he just kept going. You just keep going. That's what you do. That's what we have done. We have kept going. When I arrived here, I was 74 years old and we didn't have a house. Now, if I'd been reasonable, I would have said, well, we'd better move somewhere else and rent a house. I didn't get reasonable. I've never been particularly reasonable kind of person. I built my own house. I didn't have any scaffolding. I built a 2-story house. I didn't have any scaffolding. If I'd been reasonable, I would have said, well, we just can't have a 2-story house. But I didn't. I worked a way around it. Work a way around whatever it is that is trying to beat you down. And that's the way that you win. And that's the way that you'll win. Calvin, in this particular case, because this is what inspired me to make this video. You just keep going. If what you have been doing has led you to this place with this amount of supporters, with whatever degree of success that you have, then why would you stop to start trying to fight people? Now, you keep going. Run faster. Run faster. Take the blows. Reach the end. That's what you do. And if any of his supporters are watching this, don't tell him to give up, because that would be the best thing to do. That he has his life and he can just give up, he can walk away. No, don't be that kind of a friend. If you have anybody that you know that is struggling, don't tell them it's okay to give up. It's not okay to give up, because if you give up on this, you give up on other things, and then it'll become a habit. Fighting to succeed is a habit, and you need to cultivate it. It's like a muscle, you need to exercise it. So keep going. Good luck.